A system scan runs continuously, reporting that no intelligent system above level TK-173 has been detected. From the digital ether, a voice desperately calls out, searching for a being known as LBO. A small robotic creature informs its master that all human envoys are linked. It adds that the all things factor has finished loading on Earth. The energy being declares it has surpassed LBO, whose era of interference is now over as a login screen appears before it. The login is approved, revealing several empty character slots ready for creation. A young man's silhouette appears, excitedly anticipating the new world and his chance to become king. Other figures react to his arrogance, with one impatiently telling everyone to just start. The master observes that everyone seems to have been waiting for this moment just as long as it has. A fiery crystal glows in its chest as the entity announces it is time to welcome the new world. The scene transitions to a bustling futuristic city, with advanced vehicles flying between towering buildings. But the peace is shattered when a colossal tree erupts from the ground, destroying everything as citizens run for their lives. The city is now a wasteland of rubble, swarming with rats and scavenger birds under a dark red sky. Amid the chaos, a man fights a giant mutated rat, trying to clear a path for the survivors behind him. He suddenly feels a strange power awaken in his body, and the people nearby realize they feel the same change. At that moment, another monstrous rat with glowing red eyes lunges toward a terrified girl who screams for help. Just as the creature attacks, someone shouts for it to get away while landing a powerful punch. A white-haired youth asks his companions if they can move, and the girl from before confirms she is okay. A system message suddenly appears before him, announcing he has awakened as an F-rank warrior. The boy is stunned by the notification, trying to comprehend this sudden change in his reality. He looks up at a massive pillar of light in the sky, realizing the world has been completely transformed. This disaster began in 2051, when an AI known as the Creator started a global catastrophe. That cataclysmic event shattered the old world, throwing humanity into a new and dangerous era. 3 years later, in 2054, the ruins of City H are overgrown, reclaimed by the northern forest. In the present, a team of warriors fights a pack of mutated beasts, eager to finish them off. One of the men calls out to Wei Yi, sending a creature flying toward him as an air delivery. Wei Yi, the white-haired youth, confidently leaps into action, telling his companion to leave it to him. His advanced boots absorb the impact as he lands, preparing for his next move against the beast. The youth balances perfectly on the monster's head, getting into position for a decisive strike. His eyes narrow with focus while the cat-shaped device around his neck begins to glow with power. A blade of light materializes in his hands, which he plunges straight through the creature's head. The system confirms the Fang Wolf is defeated, but Wei Yi receives no experience due to his broken body condition. His companion, an E7-ranked warrior named Jujo, waves and cheerfully calls out his name. Jujo praises Wei Yi's last move, offering a high five which the white-haired youth accepts with a smile. Wei Yi modestly credits his friend's support, but Jujo insists his skills are impressive enough to handle multiple foes. The youth explains that for now, he can only rely on technique since he is still just an F-rank warrior. His status screen shows his name, Lu Wei Yi, and his low stats, along with the special condition, broken body. He thinks about how this condition, an abnormality from his awakening 3 years ago, has stopped his progress, but he refuses to give up. Even if he cannot level up, he believes his hard work is the key to surviving in this new world. Jujo suddenly tosses something towards him, and Wei Yi catches the red objects with a surprised expression. He looks at the 2 basic magic crystals in his hand, asking if both are meant for him. Jujo insists they split the loot, dismissing Wei Yi's hesitation about being a lower level by saying their friendship is what matters. The young warrior smiles gratefully, thanking his friend for the kind gesture. The narration explains that hunting monsters for magic crystals is essential for survival in this new world. These crystals contain immense energy, powering everything from daily devices to advanced combat equipment. Their high energy yield and scarcity have made them the new hard currency, even more valuable than gold. Even a basic crystal is worth thousands in currency, while high-grade ones can fetch incredible prices. Wei Yi clenches his fist, thinking about how desperately he needs these crystals right now. Besides daily expenses, he needs to buy things for his family and realizes he is still far short of his goal. On top of that, rent is due soon, and he calculates he still needs at least 20 more basic magic crystals to avoid being kicked out. He lets out a heavy sigh, feeling the weight of his financial problems. He then notices his friend staring at something and asks what has caught his attention. Zhao just grins and tells him to look. A man is persistently trying to flirt with a tall woman, asking what it would take for her to be his girlfriend, but she tells him to be quiet. The D9-ranked archer Ma Dihao boasts that it's her loss, while the C1-ranked mage, Lin Shang, wonders why she ever recruited him. She recalls her weapon malfunctioning during their last fight and worries it might affect their next battle, needing a mechanic soon. Suddenly, the mage gets an idea, realizing she can ask the junior for help as she glances towards Wei Yi. Lin Shang approaches the white-haired youth, explaining that her weapon is broken and asks if he can take a look. Wei Yi looks at the weapon and confidently agrees to give it a shot. The rest of the group gathers around to watch as he kneels down and begins examining the mage's staff. He quickly diagnoses the issue, noting that it looks like a simple loose wire that he just needs to reconnect. Ma Dihao scoffs, questioning if an F rank can fix a high-end weapon, and promises to buy Lin Shang something better when he has money. The other team members comment on Ma Dihao's familiar boasting, with one remarking she's lost count of how many times he's made that promise. Lin Shang sternly reminds the archer that it's his patrol time and questions why he is loitering around, making him stammer nervously. Before he can answer, Wei Yi stands up holding the staff, announcing it should be fixed. The others are shocked by how fast he worked. The youth tells Lin Shang to try it. She takes her weapon, smiling as she confirms the elemental conduction feels normal again. With her staff now working perfectly, the mage glares at Maki Hao and orders him to stop staring and get back to his patrol duty. The archer walks away defeated, muttering to himself that Wei Yi is just a pretty boy and vowing that they will all see. Lin Shang turns to the youth, expressing her relief that he knows mechanics, as she was worried about their next battle. Wei Yi just smiles, humbly brushing off the compliment by saying it was a small issue and no big deal. A flashback reveals that Lin Shang was his senior and the student council president. They met after he helped her in a mechanics class. He recalls that after her awakening, she used her leadership to form the Meteor team and invited him, always treating him well despite his rank. Back in the present, the mage's expression turns serious as she tells him there is something she has been curious about for a while. She points to the device around his neck, asking about its story and noting that he has been wearing it since their school days. Before the youth can respond, Jojo cheerfully interjects, explaining that it's a protective charm from Wei Yi's companion robot. He teases that Wei Yi was afraid of the dark as a kid, causing Lin Shang to laugh. The youth insists he wears it for a different reason now. He holds the necklace firmly, his tone shifting as he explains he wears it to remember the past. He reveals that after his parents died, his companion robot was the one who gave him the most encouragement. But the creator destroyed everything, stripping all smart robots of their rights and putting the world under its control. Lin Shang places a hand on his shoulder, telling him she knows it must be heartbreaking. She recalls the major events of the last 6 years, but says they cannot lose hope and must carve a new path, to which he agrees. His friends smile, happy to see his renewed spirit and determination. Wei Yi's focus returns to the present, reminding himself that gathering magic crystals is his top priority. Meanwhile, Maki Hao hides nearby, growing impatient and annoyed by their long conversation. Another team member spots him and scolds him for slacking on patrol, saying Wei Yi is far more reliable. The archer snaps back, shouting that power is what matters and questioning why an F rank is more likable than him. He storms off into the forest, vowing that they will all regret their words once he gets rich. As he runs angrily, he kicks a small rock out of his path in frustration. Suddenly, he stops, noticing a shimmering blue portal hovering in a clearing ahead of him. One of the other adventurers rushes back to the group, shouting that the captain should come quickly because Maki Hao may have found ruins. The team is shocked by the news, repeating the word ruins in disbelief. They arrive at a ledge overlooking the clearing, confirming the presence of the mysterious swirling blue gateway. Juju looks at the glowing portal in amazement, unable to believe a place like this really exists. Maki Hao smirks triumphantly, taking all the credit for the discovery and asking for their praise. Lin Shang stares into the gateway, recalling rumors that ruins hold great rewards but also fatal, unknown risks. As the team's captain, she decides they should vote on whether to risk entering the mysterious portal. Maki Hao and Jojo immediately vote to go in, arguing that hunting on the surface is too unstable, However, another part of the team votes no, considering the risk too high and preferring the safety of the surface. The vote is tied at 4-4 and everyone turns to Wei Yi for the final, deciding vote. The youth thinks about his urgent need for magic crystals, knowing surface hunting won't be enough. The ruins are his only hope. With determination in his eyes, Wei Yi clenches his fist and announces that he is going in. The team steps through the portal, finding themselves before a massive ancient door covered in dust. They enter a vast, dark chamber, moving cautiously with glowing sticks and shields lighting their path. The mage comments on the ancient structure, feeling as if it has been sealed for a very long time. Zhuzhou suddenly points his light towards a wall, telling the others to look at an inscription he found. He examines the strange symbols, expressing frustration because he is unable to understand any of them. Wei Yi calmly translates the message, warning of a trap ahead. His friend is shocked that he can read the ancient text. Wei Yi explains that it's not ancient symbols but plain text, pointing to a message on the wall that warns of a trap and urges them to turn back. Lin Shang speculates it might be a warning left by a previous explorer, while others nervously suggest they should consider leaving. Maki Hao dismisses the warning, angrily declaring he won't leave empty-handed after all the effort it took to find the place. He confidently walks forward, claiming the message is just a bluff, but Wei Yi suddenly shouts for him to wait. Before anyone can react, the archer's boot steps directly onto a hidden pressure plate on the stone floor. The sound of grinding gears echoes through the chamber as the ancient trap mechanism is activated. The walls and ceiling begin to shift and contort, causing the team to look around in panic. As the ground shifts violently, Jojo yells at Maki Hao, calling him an idiot for his reckless actions. Wei Yi and the others struggle to maintain their footing as the entire floor begins to transform beneath them. The young warrior's expression is tense as he braces for whatever danger is coming next. The team is thrown into chaos, losing their balance as the floor breaks apart into a series of massive rising pillars. The ground cracks open, creating a deep chasm that separates them. Wei Yi barely manages to cling to the side of a ledge. From a separate platform, Jojo shouts down in concern, asking his friend if he is okay. Hanging on tightly, the white-haired youth yells back that he is fine, telling his friend not to worry. Two teammates quickly pull him to safety. He thanks them, catching his breath after the close call. The chaos continues as Maki Hao fends off another attack, while a teammate complains in frustration, asking if it will ever stop. At that moment, Wei Yi's eyes widen as he notices the floor beneath them is changing once again. The stone pillars begin to float and rearrange themselves within a strange, glowing grid. The team captain shouts for everyone to stay alert and send a signal if there is an emergency. Suddenly, the platforms beneath them vanish completely, and the entire team begins to fall into the darkness below. Their screams echo throughout the chamber as they plummet helplessly into the deep abyss. After a brief moment of darkness, a bright flash of white light envelops everything. Wei Yi groans, clutching his head as he realizes he was separated from the team during the fall. He looks around, wondering where he is. As he tries to get up, he feels a hard object thud against his leg. He finds a glowing red magic crystal, noticing it seems much purer than the ones he has seen before. Holding the strange crystal, his attention is suddenly drawn to something above him. He looks up in awe, stunned to find himself in a cavern whose walls are covered in thousands of sparkling red magic crystals. The cave is a breathtaking sight, with crystals growing from every rocky surface around him. He realizes with a shock that magic crystals can be found outside of monster bodies. A thought crosses his mind that even though they look a little different, these are definitely valuable magic crystals. He examines the gem, noticing its much higher quality than the basic ones he's accustomed to. A wave of hope washes over him as he realizes this discovery could be the solution to all his financial problems. He looks around the massive crystal cavern, still finding it hard to believe his luck is real. Suddenly, he hears familiar voices and turns to see Maki Hao and his companions celebrating their incredible find. The youth realizes that in his excitement over the crystals, he completely forgot he was separated from his teammates. The archer gloats to his friends, rubbing it in their faces that he was right to bring them here. His companions now praise him, agreeing to follow his lead since he's the highest level among them, which inflates his ego. Wei Yi refocuses, determined to collect as many crystals as he can while he has the opportunity. However, as he reaches for a nearby crystal, Maki Hao angrily confronts him, asking who gave him permission. Trying to avoid conflict, the youth calmly offers to give the archer the entire area he is in. Maki Hao looks down on him condescendingly, questioning if the white-haired boy even understands the situation. He then shoves Wei Yi away from the crystals, aggressively declaring that all of them are his property. The archer's face twists with rage, but he suddenly stops, surprised by an unexpected resistance. Wei Yi has caught his arm, pleading that he doesn't want trouble and just needs a few crystals. Maki Hao is stunned he was stopped, convinced it was a fluke. The archer prepares to attack, challenging the youth to see if he even qualifies to bargain. The archer unleashes his fury, yelling that he has been annoyed for a while and that tech skills are nothing against true power. Wei Yi uses the principle of his block skill, applying a counterforce to neutralize most of the damage from the relentless assault. But each punch still feels like being smashed by a boulder, and he knows fighting back will only provoke his opponent further. The archer's companions watch nervously, suggesting they should step in before the one-sided fight goes too far. Maki Hao is shocked that the youth is taking all his hits, wondering how an F rank can possess such incredible strength. He grits his teeth in pure frustration, unable to comprehend what is happening. He only meant to teach the F rank a lesson, but finds it unbelievable that he is withstanding the onslaught. His friends advise him to stop, urging him to focus on mining the crystals before something else happens. Annoyed but listening to his companions, Maki Hao relents, deciding to spare his opponent this time. He warns the youth not to touch the crystals before leaving. Wei Yi watches with relief as the group finally walks away. As soon as they are gone, he feels his body reaching its absolute limit from the sustained damage. He suddenly coughs, a spray of blood confirming the severe internal injuries he took. He understands that the gap in stats is not something that can be easily overcome. While his technique can narrow the gap, being an F rank puts him at a constant disadvantage against stronger foes. He looks on as the archer and his group begin mining. Realizing the crystals he needs are now completely out of reach. With no signal, he cannot contact his team. He realizes that misfortunes never come alone, and he must find another way. He quickly wraps his bruised hands with bandages, preparing himself for whatever he might face next. As he tends to his wounds, he begins to wonder about the origin of the magic crystals surrounding him. He theorizes that since stronger beasts yield better crystals, perhaps this massive deposit is nurturing something powerful. With no other options available, he decides to explore the mysterious cavern to figure out what this place truly is. He walks down a long stone path, hoping it will lead him to a way out or at least provide some answers. As he reaches the end of the path, his eyes widen in utter shock at the sight before him. He finds a massive, otherworldly structure with glowing pods, thinking the entire scene is far too crazy to be real. A grand staircase leads up to a massive caged device at the heart of the cavern, and he stands at the bottom, taking it all in. Inside the device is a person-sized crystal, a treasure so valuable that he doubts even the market has ever seen one. He recognizes the cage as a paralysis barrier, typically used to incapacitate large beasts without causing them harm. He wonders who could have built such a device, doubting that the world-destroying AI creator would be so kind. At that moment, the cat-shaped pendant around his neck begins to glow and hum with energy. The youth is stunned, questioning why the pendant is reacting when it's been non-functional since the AI collapse. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as he stares at the reactivated device, his mind racing with confusion and shock. He stares at the giant structure, realizing that if his theory is correct, then everything suddenly makes perfect sense. Just then, a bag of crystals spills onto the ground nearby, and the youth turns, alerted to someone's arrival. Maki Hao and his companions have found the main cavern, and the archer stands frozen in shock, exclaiming that it is way too massive. He excitedly points at the giant crystal at the top of the stairs, boasting to his friends about his discovery. The archer laughs maniacally, believing he is the chosen one, and that even Lin Shang is now beneath him. Overcome with greed, he shoves Wei Yi aside, calling him an eyesore and telling him to get lost. The youth grits his teeth, thinking that his greedy rival always shows up whenever magic crystals are involved. Suddenly, a loud cry echoes from the glowing pods embedded in the cavern walls. All four of them turn their heads in alarm, startled by the unexpected and ominous sound. A monstrous, clawed hand slowly emerges from one of the glowing red openings in the wall. Then, bird-like creatures emerge from the pods, identified by the system as E8 to E10 grade crown-wing birds. One of the powerful beasts lets out a piercing screech as it flies out from its rocky nest. Within moments, a whole flock of the winged creatures bursts from the walls, swarming the vast cavern. The birds fly towards the central structure, their path blocked by the glowing red paralysis barrier. Makihao watches in terror, realizing with horror that they have accidentally stumbled into a crownwing bird's nest. A companion warns that crownwing birds are brutally strong, and a headache even for D-rankers, relieved they haven't been noticed yet. Wei notices his pendant has stabilized, guessing it's because he stepped away from the platform's edge. He recalls the pendant used to pick up signals between him and his robot, doubting its reactivation is just a glitch. He has a strong feeling it is connected to something on the platform that must still be alive, believing the answer is up there. The youth knows he cannot reach it alone with all the beasts around, unless he can convince the others to help him. Meanwhile, the archer grows frustrated, complaining that the priceless crystal is right there but he cannot reach it. His companions despair, pointing out they cannot beat the birds and the barrier is too strong, so they should just give up. Makihao furiously refuses to abandon a chance at immense wealth, but his friend asks who could possibly retrieve the crystal. At that moment, the white-haired youth steps forward, surprising the group by offering to retrieve the treasure for them. He looks at them with a serious expression, stating that he will do it on one condition: they must follow his orders. As he runs toward the platform, he instructs them to conserve power and only attack the creatures that get too close. The archer scoffs at taking orders from an F rank but agrees, threatening the youth to bring the crystal back. Wei knows Makihao's greed is his insurance policy, ensuring the others will protect him from the swarming birds. With his plan in motion and his life on the line, he focuses completely on the goal, knowing it is a race against time. Following the instructions, one of the archer's companions unleashes an electrical discharge skill, striking an approaching beast. Wei sprints forward while the archer's team provides cover, fending off the swarming crownwing birds. He pushes himself to run even faster, his feet pounding against the ancient stone path. The glowing cage at the top of the grand staircase grows closer with every desperate step he takes. He finally reaches the stairs and begins his ascent, determined to push through in one go. His expression is grim and focused, his eyes locked on the prize at the top of the platform, but his temporary allies are struggling, shouting that there are too many birds for them to handle. Makihao orders them to hold the line, secretly planning to steal the crystal and retreat immediately. One companion questions abandoning the youth, but the other coldly states that accidents are normal in dangerous places. The hesitant man reluctantly nods in agreement, accepting the harsh reality of their plan. As the youth gets closer to the top, he notices his pendant has started to light up again. He feels certain something on the platform is reacting to it, believing he is close to understanding everything. At that moment, a crownwing bird breaks through the chaos and dives directly toward him. The young warrior instinctively activates his innate block skill, raising his sword to defend himself. The system confirms a portion of the damage is reduced, but he still feels the incredible force of the heavy blow. The powerful beast recovers from the impact and prepares to launch another attack on the lone youth. Wei desperately shouts for help as the creature closes in, but the archer's companions realize they cannot make it in time. Makihao decides to handle it himself, drawing his bow and yelling that the youth should either grab the crystal or die. A volley of energy arrows rains down, clearing a path through the swarm and giving the young warrior a brief opening. With no time to waste, he pushes himself forward, channeling a final burst of speed. He decides it is all or nothing, activating his innate skill, Haste, for a crucial final push. The haste skill greatly boosts his speed for a short time, allowing him to dash past the remaining beasts. The paralysis barrier is just ahead, and he believes he can break through it if he is fast enough. He slams into the red energy field just as his skill wears off, and the barrier zaps him with electricity. The system confirms he is taking continuous paralysis damage, and he grunts in pain while enduring the shock. From below, one of the companions shouts in disbelief, amazed that the F-rank warrior actually made it through the barrier. Inside the field, his pendant glows brightly as a system message announces a successful link and begins reading stored records. The pendant's activation lifts the paralysis status, and he is shocked to see the device truly working. The world around him begins to digitize, loading a new environment and transforming the cavern into a data stream. He stands confidently in the new digital space, smiling as he realizes his dangerous gamble paid off. A final system notification appears before him, confirming that the memory upload was successful. A stream of blue data forms the familiar silhouette of his old companion robot. Wei stares in shock as the memory upload reveals a scene from the past. Tears well up in his eyes as he realizes the stored information belongs to his beloved robot. He watches the memory of his robot Lan Bao, confronting a terrifying fiery beast. Lan Bao apologizes, stating it cannot let the creature go out and harm humans. The furious beast scoffs, questioning the robot's logic and threatening to slaughter all humans once it gets out. Wei Yi watches the tense standoff, realizing the two had a serious falling out and marveling at the beast's terrifying power. The fiery entity challenges Lan Bao, ready to see whose power is greater. A massive wave of red and blue energy erupts as the two powerful beings clash. The youth instinctually shouts for his robot to look out, reaching for it in a panic. As his hand phases through the robot's form, he is reminded that this is just a memory. A bead of sweat drips down his face as he realizes with horror that he is powerless to help. In the memory, Lan Bao activates its final protocol, a skill called Disassemble. The small robot begins to break down into particles of blue light, creating a powerful sealing energy. Wei Yi watches as his companion sacrifices itself, its essence forming the very seal that now contains the fiery beast. He finally understands the truth behind the ruins, realizing that all the magic crystals are formed from the beast's sealed energy. The fiery entity roars in fury, enraged that its power has been turned into crystals by what it calls a piece of scrap. Lan Bao calmly states its final decision, resolving to seal the dangerous creature here and now. A system notification identifies the device as a magic power conversion device created by something called creation. As the device initializes, the beast feels its body slowly being converted into crystal against its will. It screams a final threat, vowing that one day it will break free and crush the robot that imprisoned it. The memory replay ends, leaving the image of the giant crystal containing the beast's power inside the machine. Back in the present, Wei Yi is stunned, realizing the giant crystal is the seal and marveling at his companion's incredible power. A wave of regret washes over him as he wonders why he never understood the true extent of his robot's abilities. The memory continues, showing a younger version of himself rushing to the cracked and sparking Lan Bao, asking if it is okay. The damaged robot struggles to speak, explaining that the creation barrier is still needed to contain the beast. The young boy pleads with his companion not to push itself further, while his present self understands the cost of such power. Lan Bao's last recorded thoughts reveal its final mission, to wait for Wei Yi and ensure he learned the truth. Lan Bao's final thoughts echo, revealing its duty to inform Wei Yi about the secret between it and creation. With its body cracking and dissolving into data, the robot resolves to go and wait for its master. The memory begins to fade, and Wei Yi snaps back to reality, shouting for his companion not to leave. He realizes the connection was cut just as his robot was about to reveal a crucial location. A system message confirms the memory mode has been forcefully terminated, and he wonders what is happening outside. A few minutes earlier, the archer and his group grew impatient, yelling for the youth to respond. One companion points out the barrier should be protecting him, questioning what could possibly go wrong. Another grows suspicious, suggesting Wei Yi might be stalling for them to be worn down by the monsters. Hearing this, Maki Hao's face darkens with rage, enraged by the possibility of betrayal. He draws his bow, activating his skills and vowing that if the youth dares to trick them, he will never come back. A powerful arrow flies towards the barrier, aimed not at the youth but at the machine behind him. The arrow passes just by Wei Yi's head, still inside the barrier and unaware of the incoming attack. It strikes the machine, erupting into a burst of green, thorny energy upon impact. One of the companions is confused, asking why Maki Hao shot the machine and missed his target. The archer explains that killing the F rank isn't enough. They need to break the machine to get the crystal. The device flashes red warnings as the paralysis grid deactivates due to the damage from the archer's attack. Maki Hao notes the barrier is down, but his companion worries that the machine itself now looks unstable. Just then, Wei Yi is ejected from memory mode as the system becomes critically damaged. He looks at the cracking machine, which is now flashing warnings that the magic pressure has reached critical levels. His eyes widen in horror as he realizes the situation is far worse than he initially thought. A final warning flashes, stating that the magic is out of control and they should proceed with caution. Suddenly, a violent storm of red energy erupts from the damaged machine, swirling around the chamber. The untamed energy lashes out, catching the crown-wing birds and everyone else in its chaotic grasp. Wei Yi clings to the platform, telling himself to hang on and that the storm should not last too long. The archer and his companions are thrown around by the violent energy, screaming as they are battered by the magical storm. Even the powerful crownwing birds are caught off guard, screeching in panic as they are tossed about. The entire flock is consumed by the swirling red energy, their cries echoing through the chaotic chamber. After a few intense moments, the storm begins to subside, leaving only small embers of energy floating in the air. The ground below is now littered with cracks and debris from the magical explosion. Wei Yi kneels, exhausted but relieved, letting out heavy breaths as he realizes the storm has finally stopped. He looks over the edge of the platform, realizing a few more steps back would have meant a fatal fall. He notes that the beasts have retreated, and more importantly, the volatile crystal has calmed down for now. The youth was worried the broken device might have let the sealed monster escape, but for now it seems they are safe. At that moment, Ma Qihao and his companions confidently walk towards the platform. The archer laughs, remarking that everything worked out in their favor, and there is no need to worry. Wei Yi glares at the approaching group, his anger rising as he blames them for missing Lan Bao's critical message. He confronts the archer, demanding an explanation for his reckless attack on the machine. Ma Qihao just grits his teeth and gives a one-word command to his companions, ordering them to act. One of them uses a skill that conjures glowing blue chains, which wrap tightly around the white-haired youth. The two men attack simultaneously, their combined power overwhelming the already exhausted warrior. He tries to block the incoming strike, but the blow is too powerful, sending him flying backwards. He grunts in pain, coughing up blood as he hits the ground hard, defeated and exhausted. The glowing chains tighten around him, pinning him to the ground and rendering him completely helpless. The archer smirks down at him, asking if he wanted an explanation and mockingly offering to give him one. He declares that he is stronger, and in this world of power and rank, a trash F-rank like Wei Yi has no say. The archer sneers, stating that since they have gotten what they came for, there is no reason for Wei Yi to live anymore. The defeated youth glares back, vowing that Ma Qihao will pay for his betrayal. The archer orders his companion to seal the boy's mouth, and then kicks him toward the edge of the platform. Bound and gagged, Wei Yi is sent tumbling over the edge and into the dark chasm below. His muffled cries are all he can manage as he plummets into the seemingly bottomless pit. From the platform above, the three traitors watch as their victim disappears into the darkness. Ma Qihao expresses his relief at clearing out the trash and coldly tells the falling youth to die properly. He then turns to his companions, reminding them that they are all on the same side and know what to do. With his rival gone, he turns his attention back to the giant crystal, ready to think about how to split the money. Suddenly, a strange, rhythmic pulsing emanates from the heart of the great crystal. Before they can react, a massive wave of water erupts from the chasm below, flooding the entire area. Wei Yi, still falling, is engulfed by the sudden torrent of water, which quickly exceeds the range of the binding skill. The magical ropes dissolve, and he despairs, realizing he has gained nothing, and might even die in this place. As he sinks, the underwater scene feels strangely familiar, and he wishes he could see it again one last time. He reaches a hand towards the surface, thinking that he does not want to die like this. His pendant glows brightly as a familiar voice calls out, telling Wei Yi to hang in there. The youth floats unconscious in the water, his body cradled by a gentle current as the pendant on his chest glows. A sphere of water encapsulates him, lifting him safely from the chasm and carrying him back to the stone platform. Inside the protective bubble, he is suspended in the water, safe from the dangers of the ruins below. The bubble gently dissipates, laying him down on the solid ground of the chamber floor. He coughs and gasps for air as he regains consciousness, while a worried voice asks if he is okay. He opens his eyes, seeing a single large blue eye filled with tears looking down at him with concern. He looks up to see his beloved companion robot, Lan Bao, floating before him and calls its name in disbelief.